Hey everyone, this is Nitro. In this video, I thought I would do a new player's guide to the newly released game, Game of Thrones Beyond the Wall, and it's a good time for me to do this new player's guide because I've played it for 3 days now, starting the 4th day, and so I have a good feel of what you need to do and so on. So this video will be divided into more or less 2 parts. The first part will be the most important tips that I can give you. And then this second part will be covering, everything in detail. So this will be a longer video, but if you watch like the first part, you'll get the most important tips that you need to know. Okay. So, Game of Thrones Beyond the Wall is a strategy game where for every battle, you're basically only allowed to deploy 4 characters. And the 4 characters is 1 hero character, and then 3 soldier characters from your barracks. Certain special maps may have slightly different deployments. For example, some maps may have 1 hero and 2 soldiers. And then actually, the wall battles, which is an event that occurs during the weekend, have you deploy 4 soldiers flat out. That's it. So it's just, you know what the number of soldiers and heroes you need to develop in general. Okay. Now, because of the small soldier count, this game, I would say it plays out more like a puzzle game as opposed to a true, strategy RPG kind of game like Langrisser Mobile, right? Langrisser has a lot of strategy involved. This one is much less so because the maps are generally smaller, and once again, you only have 4 characters, so the strategy in some ways is limited, but in other ways, the tactics you pick and choose to clear the maps still really matter. You can refer to some of my event videos to see that in action. Okay. So, what's next? In terms of time commitment, Game of Thrones Beyond the Wall is quite friendly because, first of all, stamina, or bread in this case, regenerates at a rate of 10 per hour. So you get 1 every 6 minutes, and you hit the max of 120 in 12 hours. So the expectation roughly is to log in twice a day. Okay. So, with these basics covered, I thought I would now move on to talk about the most important tips I can give you. And the first tip, absolutely most important one, is choose a server you can play on where you can be logging in at 6 p.m. or 1800 server time every day, okay, from Mondays to Friday. The reason for this is because of an event that occurs on the weekdays, which is a boss battle. Okay, so to change or choose your realm, it's pretty easy. Click on your icon at the top left, click on realms, and then click on the realm list, and then choose the server you want to play on. The servers all have different UTC times, so you can figure out which server you want to play on based on that, right? My first account, as you can see here, was on the server I started off at, server 68, and the UTC was UTC plus 8. Because it was UTC plus 8, effectively the 6 p.m. server time was 6 a.m. my time in Toronto. So I was never able to log on for that event, the boss battle, and it really, really has a dramatic effect on the power of your party. So I played this server for I think 1 day, hit level 21 in 1 day. Yes, you can level up that fast. And then after that, realized my issue and changed over to a server that was more reasonable for me. The closest I could find for me personally was UTC minus 7, which is 9 p.m. Toronto time. And this worked out much better. I can actually do that boss battle every day. Okay. So the reason the boss battle is so important is because it gives you a lot of items that can upgrade your hero. Specifically, it's the tactic card. Okay, so if you're first, basically you get in the boss battle, you get put in groups of 20, and if you're first in your group, what you get is something like 2 of these 4-star tactic cards, which gives 800 XP each, 2 of these 3-star tactic cards that gives 800 XP each, and then 4 of these 2-star tactic cards, which provides 300 XP each. So it's a lot of experience, right? In addition to that, you also can get, I think, 3-star cards, and then your overall ranking can give you some additional rewards in terms of tactic cards as well. So why this is important is because upgrading the tactic cards dramatically increases the stats of these cards, and the tactic card XP requirements increase exponentially, right? So for example, at level 1, it needs 80 experience. At level, let's say 7, it's 605. At level 8, as this one shows, it's 576. Oh, the difference here though is because it's a 4-star card compared to a 3-star card, right? So maybe I should compare 4-star cards purely. Okay, so let me just change that over. So level 7 4-star card, 605 experience. Level 10 4-star card, 980 experience. Level 18 4-star card, or this is level 18 3-star card, 2112. So you can see the experience requirements increase exponentially. And I'll talk about the tactic cards in greater detail later in this video, because I just want to focus on the more important points first. Okay. So being able to log in at 6 p.m. server time every day will have a huge impact, at least during the weekdays, because that's when that event runs. On the weekends, you get a separate event, the Wall, where the Wall basically consists of, from what I can see, currently it consists of 30 battles. There's 3 locations here. Each location has 10 battles. Okay? And for the way these battles work is it's kind of unique. First of all, you only get to deploy 4 soldier characters, so no heroes allowed. Second of all, the damage you take carries over between each battle. Okay? So it can be a bit of a challenge to keep your characters alive. The third way these battles work is apparently when characters retire, by retiring units, your damage and damage reduction get increased. Not quite sure what retiring units means per se. I'm not sure if it means your characters fall and then so your remaining character gets stronger, or retiring units as in you kill enemy characters, right? But moving on, other than that, for this particular The Wall event, what happens is every battle you fight gives you some renown, and then when you clear all 10 battles of a certain location, you get 5,000 renown. So, and then the renown, of course, is used in the merchant shop to exchange for other items. I'll talk about the merchant shop in greater detail shortly. So, that's the second thing you kind of need to know, that there's multiple events. Next, in terms of amount of gaming time that you need to spend on this game in general, what I find is the game kind of wants you to log in 2 times per day in general, and one login has to be at 6 p.m. The other login is kind of up to you, but preferably you would be able to log in at the 2 times where there's the energy giveaway. So 12 to 2 server time, and then 6 to 8 server time. So these 2 would be possibly, maybe 3 logins actually, because 12 to 2, 6 to 12, and then maybe one last login before you go to bed to use up as much of your stamina as possible. Right. Now, in terms of gaming time per day, I would say it's very friendly to the user. It's like, I would say, if you want to do all the dailies, as in all the daily quests, I would say it takes roughly 90 minutes to do everything. And in addition to that, using up stamina is a simple sweep of maps. Okay? So let's say I will go into the story and I want to just sweep a map. Well, as long as you have the map at 3 stars, you're allowed to click on it and click Patrol, which instant uses up your 10 stamina and gives you the possible rewards. Okay. So that's your main use of stamina. You're just going to sweep the maps and get the rewards, and the rewards are used to upgrade your soldiers, right? Because the soldiers, they have gear. The gear level is equal to 2 times your hero's level. So if a hero is at level 30, all the gear can be maxed out at level 60. Okay. If a hero is level 40, the gear is capped at level 80. So you can see that, so because gear, the price of upgrading gear increases every 10 levels, you're going to need to farm quite a bit in that sense. So being able to sweep those maps for farming is nice. You can see, for example, here that, let's say, level 31 requires 24 pelts to upgrade, for example. And then level 41 requires 30 pelts, so a 6 increase. And then, weapons increase exponentially. You can see here it's at 40. This one requires 60 in the same level because this weapon has more stat increases than the cavalry sword. And then if you go to let's say this character, right? At level 11 it needs 16. At level 1 it requires 8 items. So the cost, and then these items actually need just a mere 4. So you can see that the cost keeps scaling up, which means farming the maps is required, and finding out which map you need to farm is simple. Simply click on item, click on one of the gear that you plan to upgrade, click on the cost, and it tells you which maps you have available for sweeping. You can just click on that and then just keep patrolling it. You can see that I've already done 20 daily challenges on this map, for example, so you can see that I've been sweeping like crazy. So, linked to this is the fact that other than getting the food by natural recovery and via the energy giveaway, you can also purchase stamina 5 times a day using your silver or your silver stags, right? So you're definitely going to want to do that because early game is all about leveling it up as fast as possible to unlock things. So this account is currently on its, as I mentioned, it's on its 4th day, right? It's currently on its 4th day. And I'm at level 34. Right? On this server, which I joined, the highest level people seems to be around level 50, so they're actually quite dramatically ahead of me. So I think I'm clearly several days behind on this server, right? Because once again, I should have been starting on server 68. I jumped down to server 44. I'm kind of surprised they don't have that many UTC-7 servers being released. So I had to go all the way down to there. Oh, there is a level 52, a number 52 that is the same number. I think I wasn't able to join this one, but in any case, moving on. So you can kind of see that I am behind, but at the same time, purchasing stamina every day, doing 5 purchases is 500 additional stamina, and it allows you to level up rapidly because pretty much 1 stamina equals 1 XP, I think. So the more stamina you use, the higher level you are, simply put. Moving on, so other than daily quests, there's also let's say the new players event that you're going to want to complete. You can see here that my account started on the 8th and this event runs to the 17th. So it's a little bit over a week, 9 days as opposed to just 7. Although there's only 7 days worth of unlocked events. You're definitely going to want to do all the quests if possible because, well, it's just a lot of extra rewards, right? So for example, these carved glyphs are for summoning units and heroes. You can get gold, you can unlock a hero, in fact. And other than that, you just unlock a lot of resources and items. For example, these things are arena challenge passes, and then these things here have a bunch of medals for upgrading heroes' abilities, and shards of characters to improve them. So lots of things definitely worth getting, and that is actually my focus right now on completing these quests. For example, I'm focusing on upgrading gear of 3 characters to as much as possible so I can unlock as many of these skills. Right? So the goal here is, I think the most precious one maybe to get it up to 65 of everything for 3 characters, but we'll see how far I get in these 9 days. I don't know yet, right? So completing quests and then merchant errands. Other than that, there seems to always be events that you can do, right? When one event ends, it looks like another one replaces it. For example, we just had a Daenerys event where you get shards of the hero as well as a copy of the hero, and that event ended on the 10th. And with the 10th, there was a new event, King of in the North, which gives you Jon Snow, King of the North. Right? Important to note as well is there are multiple versions of each hero. Because, well, Game of Thrones has, I guess, limited characters. So, for example, taking Daenerys, there is this Daenerys, which was from the event, Lady of Dragonstone, and then there's another Daenerys called Breaker of Chains. And the difference between heroes is really primarily like their hero abilities are all totally different. Okay. I'll go into heroes in greater detail once again later in the video. So, priority is obviously look at the events, read what you need to do, and complete them. Okay. So next up is the heroes, right? Unlocking heroes is always these legendary events. So in addition to, let's say, the King of the North, where you complete certain tasks with that specific hero, to actually unlock it and you get an event in legendary events. Here it's Battle of the Bastards, and the first battle here, there's going to be 5 storyline battles where you use a preset team. The first battle unlocks the hero at 1 star, then all the battles afterwards gives rewards like additional hero shards, and of course carved glyphs to draw for units and heroes and so on. There's also things like shifting decks to get tactic cards, and also hero XP tombs. So you're going to want to do these events, and they don't seem that hard. In the 2 days I played of the first event, the Daenerys event, I was actually able to complete the event all the way up to finish all the easy challenges, finish all the normal challenges, and then finish 5 of the hard challenges, and that was just in 2 days. So I couldn't do 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, but not missing out on 5 battles ultimately wasn't too bad. It did cost me 150 shards of Daenerys, but with that said, I was still able to get that hero to 3 stars. So she was at 3 stars, 150 shards would have put me at 415 out of 600, but I wouldn't have her at 4 stars. So next, about shards, right? First, you can farm them from those events. Second, to get hero shards, you can draw for them, because when you're drawing for heroes in Night Watch's Oath section, right? If you successfully get the hero, you get 100 shards of that hero. So the drop rate is the featured hero gets a 1% chance of dropping, and then all the other heroes have a combined, I guess, 1.7% chance, and there's 30% chance of getting the soldiers, and then finally 67% chance of getting shards. Okay, so that seems to be the drop rate consistently for all of these different summonings pages and so on. Important to note as well is heroes on these events and so on are seem to only be drawable during their specific recruitment event, which uses these silver stags. Okay. And if you take a look at the Night Watch's Oath draws, the reward drop rate doesn't have those heroes. It just has the basic ones. So that's an important thing to note. Finally, there's the tactic cards draws, whatever, right? Moving on, there is also, in addition to this, other than exclusive heroes, there's also hero tactic cards that are exclusive to one hero specifically. And these hero cards, for example, if I click on exclusive, I successfully got one because I accidentally actually drew on that banner, didn't mean to. And you can see here, this tactic card would only work for the Lady of Dragonstone version of Daenerys. The exclusive cards, 100% really meant for whales exclusively. I'll go into details why later on, but yeah, I would say unless you're whaling, you don't want to draw on those ever. So moving on, the game then, to do this storyline mode, the thing is, for the story, you're only allowed to use 2 heroes, okay? And the 2 heroes you can use for the story are the ones you start off with and who are obviously involved in the story. And they are your choice of either Alvar Spire or Draymond Blackwood. Okay. My impression is Alvar Spire is better, so he's the one that's probably you should use for clearing the storyline mode. And the other thing is, you can see here, so now I'm going to go into details about the individual heroes at this point. So first though, the characters you should be using is the characters who you get lots of shards of from the storyline mode. So in terms of soldiers, there's 3 soldiers who you get shards of. Champion of Winter, Raven Tree Elite, and finally, Winterfell Rider. So those will be your 3 soldiers of choice for most of the early game. And you're going to want to focus on leveling up those 3 exclusively. Okay. Because, in large part, this is because just from the event, the new players event, as well as from clearing the storyline mode, you get these 3 soldiers up to pretty much gold 1 level. Okay. When Champion of Winter is currently at gold 2 in my case, because it's day 4, I got some additional shards of him. Each level up really matters because improving the grade increases the unit's total offense, defense, and health by 20% every single time. So it's a dramatic stat increase. Right. By comparison, so you can see here that, with this guy at gold 2, I have 2256 offense, 1311 defense, and 6000 hit points, right? Compare this to, let's say, someone at the bronze level who is not leveled up at level 1, 92 attack, 142 defense, 604 hit points. Massive stat difference the higher your soldiers are leveled in general. So it's important to use these characters who start off incredibly high level. If I had a choice, I would probably prefer to use something like for example, I think the Casterly Rock faction soldiers, because they seem pretty interesting to me. The Westerland Crossbowman, for example, from his passive has a permanent 3 range, although he can only move 1 tile. And then they have a Roaring Commander who is there to buff up allies, right? He provides 1 ally with armor equals to 150% of their offense until their next action. And they can also reduce the damage reduction of allies. And I think the 3rd ability is a healing ability, right? So, and then finally, they also have a Great Sword character who should be their damage dealer, kind of like the Champion of Winter. But, given that these guys start off at high level, you're definitely not going to change to those ones until maybe, I don't know, maybe the end game stages would give you more shards of those other characters or something, or maybe there may be events that give you shards of those characters. So, linked to that then, leveling up soldiers, you have this large aspect that you can do twice per day. You're definitely going to want to do Winterfell, because Winterfell has 2 of the 3 soldiers you use right there, right? There's the Champion of Winter, there's Winterfell Rider. And you may also choose to use Wolfswood Ranger if you can get him to the gold level. So I'm just going to send this off. This thing, you just have to send off twice. It takes around 15 minutes for the task to complete. And then once it's done, you can pick up your rewards. That's pretty much it. And the rewards will simply be a few shards of a hero and some gold. Right? I think it's around 2 or 3 shards. The number of shards increases though, the more times you use the recruitment of that at that location. So you can see here that this one's level 3. I should be getting 3 shards of one of these heroes at this point. So at level 1 you get 1 shard, level 2 get 2 shards, level 3 get 3 shards. That kind of situation. So if you are patient and you decide to maybe play one of these other factions, you could just keep sending out wash recruiters to the faction you want to eventually play, and maybe slowly level them up as a result of that. Keep in mind, however, and the reason that would work is because of the exponential cost increase as you level up. For example, at bronze level, you're going to need 10 shards of that hero. At silver level, you need 20 shards, right? And then at silver +1, where you get to advance into gold, I'm gonna have to find a silver +1 character here. There we go. Silver +1 still needs 20 to get into gold. And then once you're in gold, you need 30. Once gold +1, then needs 60, right? And then gold +2 all needs 80. So the cost keeps exponentially increasing. Important note about soldiers as well. Soldiers can only unlock their 3rd skill or epic ability when they hit gold rank. Okay. Before a soldier unlocks that 3rd skill, they're actually significantly weaker. So for example, Wolfswood Ranger that I mentioned is very useful is because of his epic ability. The epic ability, let me take that back. Wolfswood Ranger is useful because of this passive ability, where at the start of the battle, you get to summon a Direwolf Familiar, which can basically act as a tank that can tank a hit every single battle. So as a result, he can be incredibly useful for the wall battle, where you have to just deploy 4 soldiers, right? So with that, you have your 3 soldiers that are actually useful, and him who can drop a extra summon for you to tank a hit. Last but not least, about leveling up heroes. So I talked about leveling up gear and how it's about sweeping maps. I talked about the skills, okay? And one other thing about abilities is that they need, in order to upgrade them, you need ability scrolls, okay? Leveling up these skills, the cost also increases exponentially. The first level increase requires just 1 of these scrolls. Okay. Leveling up to level 2, from level 2 to level 3 requires 2 scrolls. From level 3 to level 4 requires 5 scrolls. And then I think it's like 8 or something like that, and then I think 11 or 12. So there's an exponential cost increase as well for these skills, just like everything else. But improving skills obviously helps a lot. So, but with that said, the skills are fairly expensive, and they are primarily purchased in the merchant shop, although you can get them for free from New Players Event and other events as well. So the primary method of getting them, though, after events is purchasing them, and each one you see here costs 15k renown. So you don't have that many of these abilities in general. In addition to that, the final thing about growing up these soldiers, and most important, is they are hard capped, in fact, by the resources you have. Okay. And specifically by these insignias. Once they hit their max level, in order to improve their max level, you need insignias. And the insignia cost also is exponentially increased. For example, at level 10, you merely need 3 Novice Insignias. Once you hit at level 20, you need 9 Novice Insignias to raise the cap to level 30. At level 30, you now need 15 Novice Insignias and 4 Veteran Insignias. Okay. As well as, well, 1 Morph Badge and some experience, but those ones seem fairly easy to get. Okay. Then, at level 40, you still need 15 of these Novice Insignias, as well as 9 Veteran Insignias. Presumably, to level up to level 50 as well, still uses Novice and Veteran, and then after that, you probably transition to the next version, which is Elite, right, for those last 3 stages. So then you'll probably use Veteran and Elite. At least that's what I think. I'm not quite sure yet. So in any case though, these insignias are a major cap on your character growth. You can see I have tons of experience books and so on, but I can't level these guys up because I don't have the insignias. So what I realize now, although a bit late, is you absolutely want to buy any Novice insignias you can from the merchant shop every single time. So whenever you see it, buy them, like the Novice insignias. And the shop refreshes every 5 hours. In addition, you can click here to refresh it with Silver Stags. So I accidentally just did that, but I will buy this Novice Insignia, as well as this Veteran one, because I will need them. And then the cost seems to increase. It's the first refresh is 15, second refresh is I think 30, third refresh seems to be 30 as well, and first refresh 15, second refresh 30, third refresh seems to be, actually I don't even know the cost anymore. Well, 15, 30, 50 are all definitely numbers in there. They may be a number in between because I've refreshed a few times now for those two. So I generally say do the first 2 refreshes or so you can have more Novice Insignias to upgrade your characters. Other than the merchant shop, the other way to get them is once again through events, and finally Beyond the Wall, there is a daily event, the Wirewood Foray. You can do this 3 times every day, and this event, a lot of the maps have a chance of dropping these insignias. So this is one of those must-do dailies. Do it 3 times. In addition, you can see that there's a few maps here on the map that you can do, dailies as well. These ones are pretty straightforward. Some of them give food. There's 2 of them that give food so far that I've seen every day for 100 extra food. And then there's 2 that are just dailies that gives you unit XP tombs, as well as gold, copper pennies. So those are some more dailies. Don't seem as important, but definitely worth doing if you have the time. Finally, expeditions, very straightforward. You literally just select one of the maps, choose a character of that faction, and send them off. It can be level 1, and once it takes an hour, but you can just check in anytime at your second login and collect the rewards. So actually, in my case, it has been an hour since I first logged in, and I can now collect the rewards of these events. So if I just claim them, you can see I get some, it's basically just free items. Right? Some free items and then some copper. So I'll just claim these and be done. Oh, and I actually got a Novus Insignia from that one. So bonus there. Alright. So and that's pretty much what you would do every day. The thing is, right now, playing it right now, I'm finding the puzzle game to be quite fun, but I don't know if later on it's going to be turning into pure auto battle grinding. So that will very much depend on whether the events are fun and stuff like that. Okay. So with all that said, I'm now going to talk about what you pretty much need to do every day. Okay. So I noticed anytime that there's a red icon, it means that there's something to be collected. So it's a nice little notification, if you will. Right. So I just collected something from the leaderboard, from the daily here. It seems like I can claim some more experience and some copper. So I'm completing all my daily quests. And I've actually done most of them, which is why I've gotten the 3 daily rewards here. Okay. Although I could do a few more tasks this week to hopefully collect the 2100 activity completion for these rewards. So now, at this point, I'm going to talk about, I guess, character growth. Okay. So I've already mostly covered everything about upgrading the soldiers, right? Grind for resources, grind for these insignias to upgrade your soldiers properly, and then, draw for character shards to keep upgrading them, because that increases their total stats dramatically. Abilities, the low cost, maybe raising them to level 2 or level 3 is worth it, but beyond that, I would say hold off for now. Finally, they seem to get unit traits, and that unlocks at Lord Commander level 40. Don't know what it does right now. So, next then, that is coverage of the barracks soldiers, right? I'm now going to talk about the heroes. And the heroes is very similar. They have their own star level, right? Getting shards of the hero lets you upgrade their stars, and they have their own experience books that can be used to level them up. They have their own skills that can also be leveled up via ability scrolls, of course. Now, Daenerys has very high levels abilities, level 5, level 3, and level 2, in large part because the events of the heroes give you both these ability scrolls as well as shards of the hero and so on. So that's why if you do the event fully, you can get tons of ability scrolls to upgrade that character's abilities to make them stronger. And that also applies to... So Jon Snow will eventually be very good. Okay. So one last thing to mention is, just like for these heroes, just like for the soldiers, once they are at 3 stars rather than gold, but once they're at 3 stars, you can unlock their epic ability, and the epic abilities are always very, very powerful. Okay. For Daenerys, for example, it allows her to heal if enemies suffer burning. Okay. And her active attack skill burns enemies. So it makes her basically self-heal quite a bit. Right? Alvar, who I must use for clearing the storyline mode, his epic ability gives him additional movement and 10% damage. So he has 3 mobility himself, right? Allowing him to more easily get into combat against those enemies. And then finally, Jon Snow, the new character, his epic ability is all allies, which also includes himself, get +1 movement and 10% bonus damage. So it's like an improved version of Alvar's ability. Of course, the difference there is Alvar has 3 mobility, whereas will have 3 mobility, whereas Jon Snow, King of the North, will only have 2 since he starts with 1 base mobility. So the last 2 things about heroes to mention is hero traits have already been unlocked. I'll talk about that. And presumably the soldier traits might be very similar when they get unlocked at level 40. Okay. Hero traits in this case is they get 1 trait point every 2 levels. So in this case, since my Jon Snow is level 32, he has a total of 16 trait points. And it's basically just, there's 2 branches, you choose the branch you want to level up, and every tech requires, basically 5 levels to unlock the next one. And of course, the stats increases with every upgrade. So for example here, right, at level 1, its damage reduction reduced by 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and so on. So, here I got the 5% damage boost, so from 5 upgrades. Here I got 250 offense, so there's 50 offense increase per upgrade. Here, heal for 25% of offense when attacking, so it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And then finally, enhanced offense increases by 100 every level. So, and it would be mainly to keep advancing to the tech tree. So you could easily choose to upgrade part of one and then maybe do the other one, if that is depending on what kind of stats you want and what you want your hero to do. So those are hero traits. And then the final thing about upgrading heroes is the tactic cards. So tactic cards I already covered kind of earlier, right? But I'll go into greater detail now. So first of all, tech cards, a level 1 amplification level tactic card has a mere max level of level 40. Okay. To improve the amplification level, you need multiple copies of that card. So for example, at level 1, you need 2 copies to raise this amplification level to level 2. Right? Then 3 copies to level 3, 4 copies to level 4, and then I guess 5 copies to level 5. Right? Every amplification level increase improves the effect of the tactic card ability. And that is why to me, it seems like you want to stick with the 3-star cards, because you can get 3-star cards from the boss fight that I mentioned on Monday to Friday, so that you can easily have it at level 5 amplification level, eventually. Okay. So, amplification level, other than improving the tactic card ability effect, it also increases the max level of that card. So we see here that at level 2 amplification level, this one now has a max level of 55. Then presumably increases by 15 every single level, so you can have a very, very high level card. And these cards, in addition to this amplification ability, they also increase your offensive stats and your health stats and have a percentage increase. So there's multiple effects of these cards, and that's why it's so important to upgrade them, and hence do that boss fight. Right. If we compare my highest level one, this level 18 one, it provides 700 offense and 2800 health. Compare that to, let's say, a level 1 card that gives 105 offense and 420 health, and you see a dramatic difference. There's also another 5% bonus to stats. Right? So all of this really matters. And that is why you want to use as high level cards as possible with as high amplification level as possible. Right? Even just comparing, let's say, this card, which is, because it's the amplification level is 2, right? It gives a 45% damage boost, as well as 7% offense, 7% health, right? At level 8. Compare that to the level 4-star card. It has 8% boost at level 7, and 360 offense and 1440. Right? So the individual stats is improved. But the boost level, because it's level 2 against level 1, the level 2 card surpasses it. So clearly, and then since I can have a much higher max level with the 3-star card, it's better to use the 3-star cards unless you're whaling, in which case you would go straight to the 4-star cards and totally ignore the 3-star. Finally, worth mentioning is that the challenges, which can be cleared at your own pace, because they don't use stamina and they're just battles that you do, these challenges also give tactic cards, okay? And also more shards of Brandon River's Blood Raven. Okay? So this is another way to unlock cards as well as Brandon Rivers. And in fact, every 5th level gives you, in the early stages, gives you a copy of the 3-star healing salve. And in every 10th level gives you more Brandon Rivers Blood Raven shards. And that like continues all the way to I think around level 100 or so. There's tons of missions here, like 150. Okay. And once you hit after level 100, I think you start getting 4-star tactic cards. Right? So you can see here, 4-star tactic card, another 4-star tactic card, right? And that continues all the way up to I think level 50, which is the current final level. So even though you can get these 4-star cards from this challenge, it's certainly not enough to max level the amplification level of these tactic cards. So once again, it's best to use the 3-star cards if you're a casual free-to-play like me for this game. And that pretty much concludes everything about leveling up heroes and leveling up soldiers. Right? So at this point, what is there left to cover? Not much, in truth. My current level, as you see here, is level 36 and level 32. So the thing about hero levels is the hero level is capped at your personal level plus 5. So I'm at level 34, which means my heroes could potentially raise to level 39. I'm more limited by the number of hero XP tombs that I have than anything else in this sense. And finally, Hero Arena PvP, it allows you to get honor points for exchanging in the honor shop, of course. And these battles is actually you controlling your party against an AI controlled enemy party. So when you click challenge, you get 5 free attempts every day and additional attempts from any arena challenge passes you have. And it's just, you just do these battles to get free rewards. The reason I haven't done my challenges at this time is because, well, they very much need, the event wants you to use the new hero in challenges, or sorry, in the arena. So for example here, right, if I fight 5 battles with Jon Snow in the arena, I get a reward, then 10, then 20, then 40, then 60, then 80, then 100. And you get 2 weeks to do that. So realistically, you can maybe get 40 battles just from the free dailies, right? Any additional ones would really need you to have those arena challenge passes saved up to unlock. And I think that pretty much concludes everything I wanted to cover in this video. So those are all the tips that I have so far. I'm actually going to make this video go on for a bit longer because since I'm close to level 35, I want to unlock the shield hall to see what that does, right? So let's just do that, which means I have to use some stamina. So to do so, right, an easy way is to do my last stamina purchase and then auto battle a few maps for the items. So let's just find a map that I can auto battle still. This one is good, so let's patrol it a bunch of times. And then do my last stamina purchase of 100 stamina and keep patrolling with the remaining stamina. And there we go. So with all those, once I finished it, I'm now at level 35 and the shield hall is unlocked. Build strong relationships with all regions by collecting shields. Let's take a look. So every time a new recruit joins the Night's Watch, they hang a sigil-bearing shield they held on these walls to signal their commitment to lifelong oath. Collected shields allows the Ravens and Watch recruiters to bring in more rewards from the Shields region. Hanging a shield in the shield hall betters the Night's Watch affinity with the associated region. And when a recruit retires, we honor their memory by polishing their regional shield, making its effects more powerful. New shields are earned upon recruiting a new unit from the region. Alright. So I am definitely going to want to hang the Shield of Winterfell. Right. Looks like these other ones needs this shield hall to be upgraded to and upgrading the shield hall requires your Lord Commander level to keep increasing. That's fine though. I mean, I currently mainly use characters from the north anyways. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. Okay, and that concludes this current video. So actually, with that, I also got a progression objective. Oh, because I hit level 35. So yeah. So I'm going to be doing status update videos pretty much every day because it seems like there's some dramatic improvements in your party in these first few days. I probably should have done a day 1, day 2, day 3 video, but during those periods, I was more interested in figuring out how this game works. Okay. So last but not least, let's claim the reward here. And yes, because it's level 3, I got 3, I guess, Winterfell Rider Seals of Valor and some gold. And they'll just keep improving the rewards, it looks like. And that is the conclusion of this video. So hopefully I can steadily upgrade these to become better. Thanks for watching, everyone. This was much longer than I expected it to be for a new player's guide, but I guess it's because that so far there seems to be quite a few elements to the game in terms of improvement and grinding, right? I will give a second review later on to see if the game remains interesting or if I drop it because it turned into too much auto battling. You know, that is my main concern with playing this game right now. And on that final point, Nitro out.